The V Spot was one of the most popular bars in northeastern Pennsylvania with live entertainment every night of the week. This week, Dustin Douglas is performing solo on Thursday. The Boastfuls, who you saw play an acoustic set in the Strip series on our site, will be performing on Friday with Don't Panic, whose new song we actually premiered on the site last week. Barrel Chested Beer Bellies are playing party music on Saturday. DJ Pat Moore is hosting karaoke on Sunday. And I want to welcome Stage West as our newest sponsor. Without them signing on, we would not be able to do this show. And that's kind of why we had to take a break for those 2 months, not only to kind of find a new location and set everything up, but to find the money to do this. This kind of stuff is not cheap. So we appreciate Stage West coming on. Scranton's premier entertainment venue for live music, comedy, food, drinks, special events. They're one of the only venues in the area that are bringing national acts into Scranton on a regular basis. So that's pretty cool. Thursday, our friend Angelita Petrillo is hosting a comedy open mic at Stage West. New event she just started recently. Friday is the Four Horsemen Metallica tribute band. Black Tie Stereo is performing on Saturday. And DJ Zia and Sippy are bringing their Deviate tour to the venue on Sunday, which I should note, there's a lot of electronic shows there, and a lot of people don't seem to know that. Stage West has these crazy electronic music shows with DJs and everything, and they pack the place, and it's pretty crazy. So it's kind of an underground thing. If you're not into electronic music, you wouldn't even know that it's happening there, but there's a lot of really cool stuff going on there, and they have all kinds of music all the time. If you're more of a rock guy, Saving Abel is there next Wednesday with Another Day Dawns and Always Undecided. All right, so now that we got all the plugs out of the way, so let's start with how you guys got into playing music and your respective instruments, long before this band.
So, I started playing guitar like 15 years ago. Took lessons for a really long time. I'm actually out of the area compared to all these guys, so we linked up before that Bumpin' Ugly show, me and Jordan, and that's how I got involved. My band was a three-piece. He actually had asked me for my band to back him up at that date, and then by the time we said yes, everybody else was already on board, and we had this crazy killer band that we knew was gonna like stick around after that show. So it was a blessing in disguise to end up being a part of this weird amalgamation of musicians I had never met. I mean, I think I met you and Ross the night of the show, so it was pretty crazy. But yeah, that's how I got involved. At least
you got me involved.
I got Angela involved. You answered a Facebook post, right?
Yeah. I've been playing for a long time. 15 years I've been playing in bands, kind of all sorts of different bands, rock, cover stuff, original stuff. And I just read a Victor Wooten book. He has this really strange book about music. It's strange because it's just written very odd. Anybody who doesn't know Victor Wooten, he's a bassist. He's legendary. He's one of the best. But I finished the book, and he mentioned a lot in the book just about getting a call from somebody, on the other side of town, needing a bassist for that night. I need somebody to fill in, and the thought just really appealed to me, and I decided I was gonna find more pickup gigs. Just one-offs, hop in, play some bass, make some money, have some fun. And when I finished the book, the next morning, I think 8 a.m. or something, Jordan posted on Facebook saying he was looking for a bassist, a drummer, a guitarist for a show in 2 weeks, and so I just reached out to him and I said, "Hey man, I play bass. You want a bassist?" And turns out we played that show, and it was just like immediately very obvious that we had to keep going with it. And that was, I guess, over a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
2 summers ago.
2018, because we did a story right when you guys formed originally.
Yeah.
And, I think we did a premiere of a couple of songs that you guys were putting together, and you had explained that you had this Bumpin' Ugly show coming up, and you just didn't want to play solo by yourself because that'd be kind of a weird vibe.
Yeah. I did I don't know. I played 2 years prior to that a lot of solo gigs, like a lot of long ones, and I started getting kind of like disillusioned with the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want to do it anymore. So I had an opportunity to play that gig, and I was like, we gotta try and match what they're bringing because they're a high energy band, and like it was a really good I guess idea that paid off. But
it definitely paid off.
it was pretty cool. Yeah, and I only reached out to Andrew. I mean, Andrew's a great guitar player, but what really sold the deal was he played this one jam in his band Mandler that was like a Super Mario play on like the first game, and I was like, so I'm a Nintendo guy.
He's the guy.
So it just made sense. So from that point on, I don't know, started working hard on trying to finalize the lineup and make sure everything was going smooth. I've jammed with Carl over the years a bunch of times, and everybody, or these two guys know each other, have jammed a lot.
I've like grew up playing music with Angelo, so it's great to like it's just funny how it happens. Like you play with somebody, you know, years back, and it always circles back around to where like,
Yeah.
you know, and like it's just a great experience overall. So, and I'm like kind of the new guy on board, but I'm just so happy to be here, and I just respect Jordan and everyone so much for what they do, and I'm just glad I could contribute. So
Yeah.
It's interesting how him and I were in a band, a cover band together, and he played guitar. And when the band was dissolving, I remember sitting there talking to him and saying, dude, if you ever find a funk band, let me know. He finds a funk band. Yeah. I find out he's the bass player in the funk band, and turns out he's like the best bass player I've ever seen in my life. I had no idea. So,
And then you're trialed by Fire, and you're gigging with us in like a week and a half.
yeah.
We did like one rehearsal and then did a New Year's show at Canteen Park.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the trend.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's just, you know, music is so busy, and everyone is always so busy, and like to be a working musician, at least for me, I'm as a saxophonist and flautist, I definitely like pick up a lot of gigs in this area because there aren't too many horn players, but I don't know, it's always been like, oh, you come on, do this, and that's what creates that like energy for me, is like, what are we doing? Like, we got to do it, you know. It's like you said, live. When it's live, you know.
Right.
Anything could happen, and you still have to, you know, the show goes on.
You just got to go with it, yeah.
Yeah.
We try to keep it very live on stage.
Yeah, it's kind of been the evolution of our sound. Is we were born from a few days practice on all these tunes. So, you know, Jay, who was writing a lot of them, kind of had to keep them simple, and then us being on you know, you got to play an hour. We had to stretch them out and just improv. You know, we just had to make it happen, and it's been that way for everybody that's joined the band. It, you know, unfortunately hasn't been too planned out where we've had months of rehearsal with them before their gigs.
Yeah.
You know, we'll maybe get a practice in with a new person, and then all of a sudden we're playing live. So our music has kind of maintained that. It's always maintained that live energy, but also sort of over time gotten more and more refined, and you know, it just keeps going in a better place every time we play.
Definitely.
Well, a lot of the music that you find that people can find on the internet of you guys is, you know, kind of like a DIY live recordings, but a higher quality than you would expect. You hear DIY and you think, oh my God, this is going to sound like it's coming out of a muffler. You know? a lot of people, you know, will just, you know, set up a phone, and that's, you know, it's a room with the drums crashing right near the speaker. It's obviously not going to sound great, but, you know, so how do you guys, you know, put those recordings together? You know, you have a lot of experience with putting together your own stuff.
It's funny that you say just throw a phone down, because the Tribe tape actually, Andrew just threw his phone on the ground and we recorded that. So that's the one on YouTube. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3. But
Three.
Yeah.
Tribe tape 3.
And we just got yelled at. We were at my apartment. We got yelled at by the neighbors to bring it down. And I've never even heard music played so soft, like by 5 people in a room. Like he wasn't even hardly playing the drums at all. But somehow the phone picked up the drums and all that, and it just had a really interesting like sound to it. And we liked it and spliced it together and made it into a little, I don't know, the tape idea kind of originated there, which is like, I don't know. I have a tendency to overthink things from a production standpoint. So like trying to move through these it's definitely a more live focused band than one I'd ever been a part of. Like never had any experience like improv. So like things change, and I'd had to understand how to produce songs that moved like that. So we kind of just recorded everything all the time. That was really it. Like, but it's a matter of the one time we had like, so however many inputs with five members at the time. We did all of that into a PA system, and then I remiked everything else again. So everything had 2 mics on it. Like it was completely ridiculous. I found out from Will McHale, actually from Rosary Guild, that there's a box that you plug into and you can just use one mic and then not have to do that. But
Live and learn.
yes, I learned that night. I had duct tape around everything.
That's awesome.
But we probably didn't use any of that
We
recording.
have so much stuff recorded that we could go back and file through, and it would take so long at this point.
It'll be a nice anthology song.
Yeah, we have so many live takes of things. Like I have 5 or 6 shows just recorded on my phone. You know,
Yeah, video
we,
too.
We have a couple shows like multi-track recorded that we did
But
ourselves.
Here's the thing, and now Angela, I don't know how many shows you played with us at this
A
point.
bunch.
Probably like at least 10.
But
At
how
least
many?
10.
How many with Chris? The last
Not
4.
many. Yeah, this
This
last
last weekend.
Right.
So all the guys sitting here, we've only had 4 shows recorded, and we haven't even listened to them
4
yet.
shows.
And 4 shows. 4 shows recorded and 4 shows.
Yeah.
So I think like in the live recording realm and all of these things that we're approaching, and the shows in the next couple of weeks, like I think the best is yet to come in that regard.
Yeah,
For sure.
definitely.
So then how do you decide what is the definitive version of the song? Like, do you say, okay, this is this? Do you write the song and then say, okay, here's the parts where we can kind of build in a jam or improv, or is it just kind of come together through the jamming and the improv? Like, what is the process there?
So
It's a little both. A little bit of both.
all the songs have like a set section where the improv will happen.
Okay.
And it sort of gets contained within that section, but all 6 of us are, you know, privy enough to be doing it at all times anyways. Right. So the takes always sound a little different, but not in like the jam band way where we're stretching things for half an hour and key change 3 times together. And it's more like, this jam sounded really good tonight, so we should put this recording aside and be like, okay, this is a good one, and then put it out. But like I said, we've yet to go back through the back catalog of all the recordings. There's just so many.
You know, on that note, it's like, you know, maybe we'll use this stuff and maybe we won't, you know? But as a musician, I've always tried to find a place to throw my iPhone on, record, put it in my coat, hide it in a corner of the gig, and listen to it after, because, I mean, I learn every single time that I listen back to a show, I learn something that, like, either I'm doing wrong or there's something that's happening in the music that I hadn't even really considered or heard. And I listen back to it. And
The ride home usually. It's like listen right back to the show we just played.
It's like a baseball player watching film. Like you,
Yeah.
And I
you
feel
can analyze what you fucked up.
I feel like musicians, like artists in general, are always their hardest critic. You know,
Sure.
because it's like you could have had a great night and like you're listening back and you're like, I jumped the octave there or whatever. Like,
Why did I do that?
you know what? But like for me anyway, like when I know that I killed it and I had a great show, I have no problem like telling myself that, because I am hard on myself. But I feel like it's important for people to be like as generous to themselves as like, you know, sometimes people just beat themselves up to death and they never give themselves any credit.
Yeah, so sometimes it's just fun to listen back and be like, yeah.
Right,
We
for
killed
sure.
Dude, the pocket.
Right.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of shows where I listened back and I was just like, oh, this just sounds like good, like we always make it sound, and we'll move on. You know, try and change it, evolve it, make it something cool. And then, you know, going back to what he said, sometimes we catch stuff that we didn't do before, and then we work it in, and or at least try to remember it on the spot. You know, there's always weird things happening. Last Sunday we were going to go back into a song and we were all like, I don't know if we should do this. And then I was thinking like, wow, it was kind of a good idea though.
We should have went back.
Like we should have.
Like 30 seconds after we ended the song.
Just go right back into it.
It's insane though, because this group of musicians, like, and all the bands I've ever played in, like, Yeah, well, a lot of them were covers, so you kind of already know what you're doing. But like, to just the way this band came together and the way that we all just have this chemistry and kind of sense of knowing what everybody else is gonna do a second before it happens, is like makes me just really happy.
So it's a rare thing, is what you're saying. It doesn't come with every band you're in.
No,
everyone in this band is like an awesome listener. So it's like I could play a line and Angel will be like, "Oh, I got you," and then Drew's like, "Oh, cool," and then before you know it, we're like, that's one of those moments where it's like you're really creating like something new. Like it's not like one person soloing, everybody's comping. We're all creating something. Oh,
That's the goal.
Right.
That's always the goal.
Right. It's just nice to have that, because I'm sure we've all played with people who don't really know how to listen.
Sure.
that's the most important part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I'm proud of you guys because I could never listen to myself. Like I do not listen to the show. Once it's done, that's it. I never listen to it again. I hate the sound.
Dude,
of my
I had a
own voice.
podcast and I hated listening to myself too.
Yeah, I cannot stand it. And if I could do this somehow, like if I could do this as a disembodied voice where I'm not actually on camera,
Yeah.
I would do that.
Yep.
Like if I could project
Hologram?
myself like Professor X or something.
Cartoon or something.
That, I'm already bald, so I think it would work.
Hey.
We have the
We have the technology, Rich.
Yeah, you can probably do it.
All right. Well, then we're going to need another sponsor. By all means, please give us your money.
Tesla.
Yeah, right.
I got another beer
Yeah,
from our sponsor.
yeah, I'm gonna
those are for you guys. So.
Over.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
The table is producing
sir.
Yinglings for us.
Oh,
By the way, Yingling, you're welcome to sponsor us. We are looking for a beer sponsor. We have actually asked some local breweries, and none of them have bit yet. So
Would make a lot of sense.
There you go.
Another local brewery.
America's oldest brewery.
That's
Yes.
right.
oh, Pottstown? Pottsville.
It's funny. Like Miller Coors and all those guys are dying to buy Yingling just so that they
bet.
can claim that they're the oldest brewery. Like they
God.
don't give a shit about the beer.
Right.
They just want to say like, "Hey, now we're the oldest brewery because we own this brewery."
Yeah.
Thankfully, they won't sell, at least yet, anyway.
Better not.
They're proud.
So you guys make your own videos too, and do some cool effects like kaleidoscope stuff. I saw the one where you had the phone spinning around, which was really cool.
It's a good story.
Which is I'm interested in like how do you put those together? And I know there's a lot of musicians that watch our show, so I always try to ask for a little thing, and we'll get a little more into that in a bit, but. Things that other people can do that will help dress up what you guys are doing, because I think a lot of bands don't know how to market themselves at all, and I think you guys are very good at that. Like you have a certain aesthetic with your posters, and I love the little the little bird and stuff like that. Like I think that is great. It kind of adds this mystique, for lack of a better term.
Check out the bass drum there. Those are
new.
Those are new symbols.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, like it's I think that's part of a package deal. Like I remember as a kid, getting so heavy into Tool, not only because of the music, but because of the
Great
presentation
art.
of
Yes.
it, like the artwork,
Yep.
the music videos, and it all kind of fit together. Like if you saw something without their logo on it, you go, oh, okay, that's Tool. Like you just know, and I like that. And I think not enough bands take the time to do that or really think about that kind of stuff. So, what was the thought process there?
Crow, Jay.
Thank you first, and that means a lot. And
Before he says anything, I'll just note that it's very hard to do. I think that's why a lot of bands don't do it. It's very difficult. It's just like coming up with a band name. It's like, it sounds so easy in principle, and then you try to do it, and it's like every idea seems like garbage, and you feel like,
Right.
silly about it.
And you don't want to be a rip-off of somebody else.
But Jay also is like, just simply put, like a visionary with that kind of stuff. He's just
The wizard.
an insane
Absolutely.
eye. You know what I mean? And everything flows from that. Like even with the music, it all flows from the vision that he's got.
Yeah, man.
And we're all behind it too.
Whatever
because
he's
it's
about
just
to
so
say
dope.
is important, but what's most important is just that he's got that.
Got the eye.
I think that is a big thing too.
All
Like we're such a democracy, or like, but we're all just so behind. Like without question, I have no doubt whatever you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it's gonna work.
pretty
Sorry, Jay.
pretty awesome. No, that's
Oh,
nothing to apologize for. It's the coolest thing ever. Like, it's crazy how much less I know about music than all of these guys, and how much better of musicians they are. But like, I guess that's where it starts. I mean, those are the original ones, the videos that you first shared. Like that was there's like a simple effect you can put on in DaVinci Resolve that makes them all kaleidoscopic. I just kept doing stuff like that. But I'd worked as a video editor for a while and all that, so I knew the way around a little bit. But yeah, I guess as far as the art is concerned and the overarching story, well, I guess the reason why we picked The Crow and why we decided to stick with it is I have a crow tattoo on my arm, and I was talking to Mike the first practice, and or maybe second practice, and he saw it, and we were talking about having spiritual conversation of some sort, which happens a lot, and he saw like the end of it, and he told me to show him what it was, and he's like, "Is that the Rainbow Crow?" And there's this story about the Rainbow Crow from Lenape legend. I probably won't tell the whole thing. You could just look it up. It's really cool though, and it's a really like humbling, great story. But so that's why we ended up settling on. So he wanted to get that tattoo. He already had, not the exact one I had, but like. And can we say, do we know for sure? We don't know. But we love the story, most importantly. And I think that's what it became about after that point, is like creating a story. Like, I think that's really the most meaningful job of mine now as a songwriter, and like being able to do the artwork is like crafting a story, or just the bare bones of it. Like, these symbols I don't want to say anything about them because these guys have yet to inform what they mean. Do you know what I mean? So like, it's crazy that I have that opportunity, but it's definitely a creative writing sort of graphic project in addition to just music, and it's just the music and the groove, more importantly, at the like bass line, like simple grooves that get people moving. That's the foundation that is built on, I don't know if that I can't remember the question.
All of the art sort of just ties it all together. All of the music and all of the art are very much related. And I think like we sort of operate under this impression of like whatever we do has to be in that vein, even if it's like a decision about a show, or like can we do it in a way where it fits into our ideology as a whole? So like me and Jordan will be talking about making whatever move, talking to people, and I'm like, can we do this in a way where it's us? Like, can we make it tribey is usually what I say. Can we do it in a tribey way? Like, we were talking about doing like a Kickstarter or something, like, and I was like, whatever it is, we have to do it in a weird, out-of-the-box way that fits in the aesthetic as a whole. And that has been at least my guiding principle. I know like all of Jordan's art ties it all together too, but it's weird. We sort of operate under this idea of a democracy, and that sort of fits in the tribey way too.
Sure. Well, this is actually a very important thing to note now that you say that, is because we view it that way, it started getting more and more strange. Not to mention that I hate the role of frontman just in like completely. It just doesn't I don't like that idea. But having my name apart from the tribe has gotten to a point where it just didn't make any sense anymore based on how we're viewing everything else. You know what I mean? So now, from here on out, it's the tribe versus Jordan Ramirez and the tribe, which is nice. It's nice to have that confirmation of that group. You know what I mean? Because like, I guess that the initial version of that name left it open for that cast to be changing. You know what I mean? Right. And now we got all the guys. One of the guys right here, and I want him to say something. So if you have a question, This guy's hilarious. This is the funniest dude ever. Oh my gosh. Everybody though, it's like all these guys are hilarious and great to work with and super great musicians. So it's cool. I don't know.
I think the hardest part for when I talk to a lot of creative people who are doing amazing things, and you have to kind of find this balance, especially you're playing out live or whatever, between business and marketing and very cold stuff that you really is not creative, and then the creative side, and how do you marry those and make it work? So that's one of the reasons why I like what you guys are doing, because it kind of marries those a little bit, where it's great from a marketing standpoint, but I don't want to say that because that sounds insulting. Like, it sounds very cold.
No,
like,
we take that all
you guys
the
are
time.
very good at marketing.
I think everybody in this band would be like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Like, because we're all
It's
like,
hard.
Because
it
it's
is.
so
It's hard.
important.
Because it intrigues me when I see something that you guys are posting on social media. It makes me stop, as opposed to the 5 million other things where people are just posting the same old cold sort of
here's my
stuff.
thing.
Right.
You know
Yeah,
what?
exactly.
Too, like, what's interesting is, not only is he the sax player or he the key player, but we all kind of take on roles too, as far like we have spreadsheets and we like we
There's
do
a lot
like
of cold stuff. Like, there's a lot of cold stuff involved with being like a
Some bands
thing.
have never seen spreadsheets.
right.
So that's
like we
amazing.
all kind of pitch in what we can. Like everybody has their own strength. I like to do video editing, but this guy keeps. I don't even want to go near a computer after I see the stuff he comes up with. So it's like, all right.
And surprise, just out of like nowhere too.
Yeah.
It's like, here you go, guys.
Yeah.
It was like a done music video.
Yeah. Why don't you tell them a little bit about the process behind our video that we're...
Yeah, man.
Green screen.
Well, yeah, we got a new music video coming out this Saturday. All if the stars align, Lord willing. I don't even know, man. The process was just like we need a music video. What's the quickest way to do that? Because we had this song that we really like, and we're like, we need a visual. So it's interesting because the song inspired the need for a music video in a very much cold marketing way. And then it was like somehow that inspired a whole creative idea out of that. Do you know what I mean? So like I worked in marketing for a few years, so it was pretty cool to like learn some of that stuff. You know what I mean? To be able to put it to use now. But that's the objective is with this new music video and all of the new stuff moving forward is to intrigue people who are passing by it to like try and figure out what's happening here. Like, there's some mystique to it.
Yeah.
And it's because I think just like I wanted to assimilate into the tribe, I wanted to become a part of it. I think I speak for everyone saying that we want everybody to feel like they can be a part of it, and feel like they have a place in the audience and, have a contribution as equal as we do that is completely non-musical and this just has to do with their, intention.
We want everybody to be in the tribe.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Everyone can be in the tribe.
Anybody.
Sure
Yes.
can.
That should be a tagline.
There you go.
I want it on a bumper sticker.
So the new song is called Highlights? Is that-
Highlights, yes.
Okay, and that'll be out Saturday. So
Yes.
people can keep a lookout for that. Make sure you're following these guys on social media. You're on Facebook. Where else?
Instagram.
Instagram.
And we have a website too. But actually,
YouTube channel too.
Yes, Instagram is probably the place to go for like the first, the first post of whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like we go there first. That's our first stop.
That's where you
know
get
what I
it.
mean?
Go to Instagram.
There you go. Thank you.
Well, speaking of stops, let's get into the touring part of it. So you guys have toured across Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Vermont, Connecticut, and Maryland. I think they got everything.
Yeah.
So what has your experience been like as an independent band, having to put together your own tours and booking these shows and stuff? How do you even begin with that type of thing?
Ooh, I guess this is a question.
That's you, buddy.
The man back there.
So, thanks to Jordan's talent as video producer and as marketer, it's easy to an extent to sort of like open that door a little bit when it comes to venues, you know, more so than just coming in with absolutely nothing.
Right.
We had a very strong like press kit from the very beginning. So we got like a really good bunch of shows right off the bat. And then that good bunch of shows has sort of cascaded into us being able to make connections with lots of venues that we like playing. So it was actually like this past weekend, we did 5 shows in 4 days. And 4 of those shows were with people that we absolutely love working with.
Yep.
Actually, all 5 of them were with people we have, like Turkey Hill Brewing, the Grape Room in Philly, Montage, the Car for Cancer event was amazing. The Fun House in Bethlehem, and then with a guy named Rich in Reading with Pollen Consolidated. All 5 of those gigs were sort of like relationships we had cultivated already, and then this weekend was just like a blast of all of them all at once.
Yeah.
And a very, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I was like
It was
electric after this weekend. Just
I felt so good.
We
yeah.
talked about
nice.
post-gig depression, right?
Yes, I was like on
It
Sunday
happens.
night we got
It's real.
home and I like didn't know what to do with myself. I was
Like, I want
what-
to play another show.
Yeah, what are we doing? But
I was proud you guys went back to work the next day.
yeah, but the shows,
talk about it.
the booking is a challenge. I would say like 90% of the time I spend in this band is like booking stuff.
Just hitting
You know.
people up.
Just hitting people up.
Yeah.
Sometimes totally cold, sometimes with other stuff, and then these.
Like even if you know they're gonna say no,
Yes.
like you still.
Even if I think that our chances are slim, it's worth the shot. And then, to my surprise, it's paid off a couple times to the point where, we have a relationship in Vermont where we can go back up. I mean, we hit up Radio Bean, they offer us 3 different dates. Like, so it's been a challenge, but after a solid year of doing it, it's becoming easier. Plus with this week of shows with Ardmore Music Hall and Brooklyn Bowl, after those go down, it will be even, sort of easier to go into the other markets around it. And then having those like extremely legendary venues notched off on the belt is just, craziness.
Right.
Crazy. I can't even like fathom that a week from tonight we're doing Brooklyn Bowl.
I never thought like.
I know, right?
Well, I mean, maybe not so soon, but. Like,
That's what it is, really. Not so soon.
Right. When Jordan, like, we played, like, a few times, like, maybe as, like, a duo or even, like, with a couple other guys. But he was like, yo, I want you to do this. I want you to be in the Tribe. And I'm like, I like it. And I think the first, like, we did a back-to-back. We played, it was in, not Syracuse.
Funkin' Waffles.
Funk
Yeah.
and Waffles, yeah.
Another amazing
Yeah,
venue.
which was, and, who do we open for?
It was Root Shock?
No,
what was
no.
it? Flux Capacitor.
Flux.
Yeah, it was Flux.
Sorry.
Nice.
But and then the next night we played at the Bitter End in Manhattan, and he like came to me. He's like, "Yeah, listen, like this is like I want to play these places. Like we can take you. We'll bring you back. You'll be good. You'll make money." And like me, I don't like the music is the most important thing for me. So like when I get with other people that like you can tell that that's where their head is, like of course it's gonna work because I don't know.
And
It's just
when we're hitting venues like the Bitter End, where you walk in and you see like a picture of Bob Dylan on the wall, having played the stage 50 years ago,
Right.
Yeah.
Like it kind of
it's just
electrifies you,
mind-blowing. Like, and it makes you want to be that much, not better, but you just want to give it your all,
It lights the fire. It's easy for me to like go do our booking when I know there's a chance we can play things like that. If it was as much of a shot in the dark as it was, 8 months ago, maybe it wouldn't be as easy to keep it going. But it's now I know that we will get a response. If somebody will take us up on our offer to come play somewhere. So it's like, I don't know. It's way more fun now. It feels like fishing. So
Nice.
but some of the big gigs, they are truly based on just personal connections I've made with people over the years that just happen to sort of morph. Like Ardmore is somebody I worked at a sandwich shop with in college that does marketing at Ardmore now, 6 years later.
right.
And
With that said, though, Brooklyn Bowl was just like,
shot in the dark.
I was like, let's send an email, and even he was like, oh, like nice man, like that'll work.
It was a
got
follow-up
it.
for an email from like 7 months ago.
Yeah,
And I was like, yeah, do it. And sure enough, it was balls. But it paid off instantly.
Right.
So you know, we want to travel and play.
Mhm.
So that's what gets us fired up.
That's a dream.
That's
Exactly.
it. We have a dream.
So let me ask this then: what would your advice be to other musicians who want to do the same thing, especially because it's so hard to get original local bands complain all the time, like it's so hard to get gigs and nobody wants to hear us play or whatever. But you guys are already out there and doing it, and you guys are just formed in 2018. So I mean that's a pretty good pace.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a lot of musicians watch our show. Is there any advice you might give to?
I do it every single day. No, I'm doing something for us booking every day. Even if I'm not sending an email, I'm trying to talk to somebody, or I'm trying to go meet somebody in person, which I've done before to get us a gig. It is a grind to make those connections, but you have to make the connections. That would be my advice. The other advice is have a strong email. Quick, short, to the point, good press kit, good video. That's all you can do, really. Especially as a new band.
And be nice.
And I think too,
Be nice.
on the other side, but like besides the email and thing, like for each individual, like if you can just really dedicate yourself to your craft, like whatever it is you do, if you're the drummer, you be the fucking drummer, and just that be your soul. Because when you put your mind in that place, it allows more things to open up for you versus if it's just like, oh, this is like my second day job or something. Like some people get jaded that play and like.
If you're telling yourself you can't in any form of that phrase, then you're not going to.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could still work a day job and do this. You're going to be tired as fuck, but
right. But I just think it's that's important too, because the better you can be and the more expressive you are, people notice that, and that opens up new venues and avenues for you too. It has for me, So.
But what he said, being nice is so much. We played Reading, and it was with somebody that we were friends with that put the show together for us. But the place we played, the owner we had never met before, and just going to that guy and making that connection, like, hey, thank you for letting us play here, goes up like miles, because there's probably been 3 other bands that played and didn't say a word to him. So
right.
It's and just
it's not disingenuous though.
No,
because it's
not at all.
this is also an important thing to note, is not just like nicety for the sake of being nice, but humility amongst the band members, so that if you're sitting in a room and working together, that you can be critical about something in a way that's not negatively framed. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like you can say, maybe try this, and it's not like, it's not going to have somebody squirming in their seat, like frustrated with you. They're just like, I trust that you might be right. I can admit that I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
And using that approach, which is not musical at all, with every relationship, first of all, with the band, if you're going to be networking, but also within the band, I think that's probably the best advice. And that's the only reason that this could work in the way that it has so far, I think.
You gotta be
Well,
like
a lot of musicians can
You
get
gotta be like a tribe.
egos about
You
it.
hear this? You hear this? Quote unquote, you gotta be like a tribe. That's it.
That's it.
Like
Right
a
there.
track.
It's gotta be fair.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotta be, and the role thing that Carl said too. That's it. Like, it's an important thing, but it's got to be fair and rooted in, I guess, each member's humility and willingness to work for each other, and I think that's it.
So, do you guys have any interesting tour stories? Anything on the road that was fun and unexpected, weird,
From Friday.
good, bad, or otherwise?
From Friday.
Locked and loaded.
We played at the Funhouse in Bethlehem, and it was crazy. There was it's a tiny room. It's probably about the size of this place, and it's just packed with college age to 30 somethings, and I just remember we were I think probably in the middle of our second set, and Drew's just ripping us all out, and then all of a sudden this chick stepped on his pedal board and pulled his wire out.
Which has happened before, crazily enough.
Right. But it was and I'm like, damn. I'm like, Drew, grab the case. And we put the cases out, lined them up in front of the people, and it's just...
It worked.
It really did work.
It
and it
worked.
was just it was just such a like great experience. And it's like you got people so close to you. Like it's nice playing like venues where you're on the same floor as the people. Sometimes it's a little, it's always crazy. It was
crammed.
But sometimes it really is cool. You could really feel that like that exchange versus if you're on like a big stage in a stadium.
Yeah.
Not really the same thing, you know?
Right.
The Funhouse on Friday was probably the most fun I've ever had at a show.
It was great.
After playing in bands for how many years, that Friday night, this past Friday night was
right.
Just like affirming as a musician, you know, to have 50 people in front of you dancing and into the music and just, I don't know, ready to get down.
In our face. There's people in our face.
Yes.
And then Saturday day.
Yes.
And Saturday night.
Yeah. Just like continuing that energy into the next days. But
Right.
actually hit a girl in the head with my guitar on Friday night by accident. She was walking past me and I turned and she just like right on the forehead. And then she actually danced.
Nice.
Making the move that she was going to hit. And I was like, at least you're cool.
Yeah.
You're cool with it.
And someone stole my girlfriend's coat that night.
Yeah.
I don't know if they stole it or, you know, chicks are cold.
It was cold that night.
But it was real cold.
People were touching the instruments in between the sets.
Right.
Like going up and picking them up.
We stepped outside to have a little smoke break. And I came back in and I think Taylor was like, this girl tried to pick up your saxophone. I came over and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, it's just funny, like, because, like, you know, you're playing at a bar most of the time or somewhere where they serve alcohol. People get wild. And, like, I'd love to say that everybody in this band, like, I've never been like, whoa, he's too, you know, hammered or whatever. He's too, like, everybody is conscious of that. Even if we have a drink or whatever, everyone is still so focused and they don't like let that, you know, but you see that difference between the crowd and they're all drunk and they're like, everybody's like, yeah.
The encore chick. Can you guys just play one more? She's like, I'll Venmo you $10.
We're like, we don't. You know,
Like-
we have to stop the
lights are like going to come on.
The venue's making us stop. And she's like, you know, if you want to be a professional, you gotta have an encore plan.
The Funhouse is my favorite.
Yeah.
They're great
Place
people
we
out there,
play.
Bethlehem.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Really good to us.
There's a good tip for bands. Start checking out Bethlehem.
Yeah.
Right.
Telling you.
There's a lot of little
Local
venues
bands.
and stuff, like
Yeah,
all
man.
scattered throughout there.
Definitely.
Yeah, the Lehigh Valley in general, it seems like
Awesome.
there's a lot going on. There's a lot of great bands coming out of there. And, you know, I just went to a show last week. I saw Another Day Dawns play there. They had an EP release show, and I went down to check it out. It was the first time I was at the One Center Square in Easton. It's a nice little space, pretty cool. And what I couldn't get over is I've been to, you know, I'm you know, look back the other day, it was like, yeah, I've been doing this for about 10 years, you know, covering local music and stuff, you know, 5 years with NEPA Scene and 5 years with newspapers and stuff too. And I've seen a lot of great shows in northeastern Pennsylvania, but the worst part of most of these shows are like the fans. They just kind of stand there and they got their arms sitting there and they're kind of focused more on their drinks and that type of thing than the band playing it. I'm looking around like, are you seeing this? Like, are you watching this?
Right.
Isn't this what you guys came for and stuff? But the crowd there, every single person was into it. Everyone was singing along to every single song, and they only have 2 EPs that they put out themselves. So there's no big record label or anything behind them yet. The song that they sang the loudest was their first song the first original song these kids ever put out. And they started as a cover band and worked their way up and started writing original music and everything. It was just refreshing to see, like, okay, this crowd is legitimately here for this. They're into it. They don't care about the bar.
Yeah.
They're interested in the show.
Right.
And it's so hard to find that in northeastern Pennsylvania. I
That's
find
true.
that a lot.
Bands will burn themselves. I'm telling you, they'll burn themselves out real quick playing the same circuit over and over and over.
Right.
And over.
Yeah.
They wonder why people don't go out. They wonder why people just stand there.
And
Because they've
Funhouse
seen you
isn't far.
4 times this month already.
Right. That's
You know,
true.
I hate to say it, but you got to move around a little bit.
Gotta
Right.
find your scene.
Excuse me, I got to use the bathroom.
The Valley has got a good scene. It's always had its roots, you know, real deep and firmly in music and live music. It's just tough, you know, but it's amazing because like it always fucking holds on. Like there's always, like, as soon as one place that was like a real big place dies out, another place starts growing. And you know, as much as it is tough, because it's exactly what Chris said. It's not that people around here don't love music, because they do. Once you get them hooked, they'll keep supporting you.
That's true.
Tremendously. But it's that they see the same band every month. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And that's tough to do. You know,
Right.
It's tempting, because there's maybe 24 places around here that you could really just play year round if you want to. And we all,
Sure.
some of us at least have done that. You know, I did it for years,
Yeah.
and you know, and I just finally saw, you know, instead of seeing numbers grow, they grow to a certain point and then they kind of start to die out.
Right.
And it's like basic economics, probably.
Like
you know?
oversaturation almost, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
It's like when you play, if you play in a place and you only play there 3 times a year or 4 times a year, all the people that know you play there are going to make sure they come for that versus like, should we see him this week or next week?
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's a good scene around here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's
There's
just,
a lot of talent up here. I'm not.
people got to
familiar.
get out the valley, you know? We got to get out of the valley.
Just a little bit.
Just a
Not
little.
even that far.
Yeah,
Right.
Funhouse is only an hour away.
Yeah. There's so many little big towns you can play in within an hour, 2 hours of here that you'll have a great fucking time.
Reading, that's been like our spot.
Yeah, Reading has been a really fantastic city to us, thanks to Pollen Consolidated, because the dude that runs that is just the biggest bro on earth, and supports the band, like actually believes in the band to the point where, you know, we asked him for this past Sunday's gig, I don't know, in like November, and he didn't know what it was going to be yet, and still booked us. And then ended up like booking this private party at the distillery that we played at. That's not even open to the public yet, and managed to make an event out of it. And it's just
It was great.
And
It
it
was-
was like,
it was
It
awesome.
was such a nice gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bartenders, the owner, they're like, and it's just going back to like being nice, you know, like I don't know, anywhere I go I always just, I don't know, sometimes like musicians can be like, yo, where's my shit, like but I'm just always like,
What?
I just, you know what I mean, like
No.
you got my drinks, you got my food, like,
Oh, like that.
or, yeah, you know, like
Totally.
Like what?
but I don't know. I just always go in like, I don't know. You just have to respect everyone, and
Yeah,
like
totally.
nothing would work like without them, like bartenders, you know. And it's like I feel like when I'm gigging, like I'm on the staff. I'm part of the staff, so I want to make sure that they feel good, and like I just simply like asking people's names, like, oh, thank you for the drink. What's your name? My name's Carl. You know, people appreciate it, and like I don't know.
Important.
Yeah.
Important to respect people. for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
respect has got us a long way, and I'm happy for that because it is affirming that it is the right thing to do. You know,
Yeah.
simple as that.
So if anybody has any questions, leave them now because we got to wrap up soon. Let's see. So we have a comment. Hey, Chris Langan, your buddy Liam is watching. We've been following your amazing career for 3 years now. Thank you for sharing your talent. And we wish you all the best of luck with it.
Liam was one of my students. Yeah.
Okay.
You've probably seen me post videos of him.
Dude playing the Beatles?
Dude playing the Beatles.
Oh man, he's killer.
He's killer.
He's good.
Killer.
Yep.
Liam's the man.
Absolutely a shredder.
What's up, Liam? Where you at?
That's cool.
But yeah.
Anybody else want to throw in here? Let's
Who's got a
see.
question?
Anybody?
Hashtag
I'm
ask
like
the
digging
tribe.
through now. It's mostly just saying this person has joined. Facebook is so helpful. with
Thank
that.
you for joining.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a good crowd watching tonight, so we appreciate that.
Nice.
Thank you guys for tuning in and staying tuned. That's the whole thing. We got that performance coming up in just a minute. Obviously, Jordan just stepped out, so I don't want to.
Yeah, if you're gonna come on this show, don't slam an extra large coffee right before you gotta sit down for an hour and talk.
Well, we're giving advice.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Right.
Very, very good advice.
Also, all the advice is just off the seat of our pants too. Like it's not like any of us have any, real professional.
We don't know what we're
We're,
talking
we're
yeah.
trying
You
as
have no
best we
reason
can,
to
and
trust
it's paying
us.
off. So yeah,
I have
Try it,
I have a book
please.
coming out.
Nice.
But-
No, this is an indie band.
yes, it's a very.
Well, that's the main thing too, because you have a big national act coming in, and what's the secret to your success? Well, a couple $1 million, really helps.
Sure.
Quite
Really
a bit.
helps.
That record label push was a big help. So I'd rather talk to the smaller bands and figure out how they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's just a more interesting story.
Having
in
an
general.
extremely talented graphic designer and producer in the band who just stepped
Yes.
out definitely makes that easy because
Yeah.
if that were not the case, we would be out thousands of dollars by now for just the stuff, just for just the music video alone. You
Right.
know?
If I wasn't in this band, I'd be at every show buying all their stuff. Like that's how much I love his songs. You know what I mean?
So,
And I hope I'm sure other people do too. You know, it's like they're so good.
but that is a lot to do with it. That is, it would not be sustainable without having somebody so talented making the stuff that ends up being our promo, and it just wouldn't work, you know. Like we would have to be out thousands of dollars.
We should say that the song that we played before that we'll play again, Andrew wrote the chords to. So
Always trying to give back. I love it.
He is.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, number one is talent. You know, you actually have to be talented first, and then all the other stuff comes with that. You know, which comes from practice and everything else. I mean, it sounds self-explanatory, but you know, I think people just kind of want to shoot straight to the top and get
Well,
to the.
I think the first
good
thing
part.
you said is people complain along the way. Like,
Yes.
just do the work and don't complain along the way.
Right.
It'll be
Right.
a lot
Dudes.
easier.
You have to.
Exactly.
You have to.
Enjoy the process.
Right.
The
Yeah, that's
process
what we're
is
doing.
fun.
It is.
If
It's
you
exciting.
make it fun, it is like, extremely exciting. You know,
Yeah.
all six of us are on the same page about pretty much everything that we do. So we know what's coming. We know what to be excited about. It happens. We get excited and then move on. You know.
Way to put it.
And how?
Yeah.
And how?
So upcoming, we have February 15th, Sprout Music Collective in Westchester, the 16th at Ardmore Music Hall, the 19th at Brooklyn Bowl in New York City, and the 28th at Tellus 360 in Lancaster. I've heard cool things about that
House
place.
is awesome.
it's an awesome place.
All those places are sweet. Sprout has been really cool to us too.
Yeah.
Sprout is a cool, like, actual music collective in Westchester where they really go out of their way to, like, give every band, like, a real night gig. You know, they'll put 4 or 5 band bills on, but having, like, us come to them and be like, give us a night, it was, like, no questions asked, and then we did well, and now we're back. So
Nice.
this will be our second
Yeah.
night there, actually.
It'd be my first name.
Yeah.
You know,
I can't
The
wait.
15th is Valentine's Day, right?
The 14th.
14th.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
That'd be sweet if it was Valentine's Day.
say, because blame it on leap year.
a lot of people will probably be out for Valentine's Day, though, for that, you know, because it's a Saturday, right? I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I was thinking about
Weekend.
how we'd be giving our new song to people.
Oh,
As a Valentine's
Still
In a real
applies.
lovey-dovey way.
Yep, still applies.
I'll take that new song.
All right, we're releasing it on Friday.
yeah, I think here's a good question from the audience here to end with. Jessica asks, what inspires each member of the tribe?
Ooh, good one.
Should we go in order?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Give me a minute.
Yeah, like what, one word?
I
2
honestly, it sounds super cheesy, but I just get totally like euphoric on stage with these crazy mofos. So that's enough for me to put in any freaking amount of
It's
work.
that meme with the boys.
Yeah, that's what it is. The boys. I love playing with all these dudes. So it's really simple as that. I'm sure that's pretty much how it's going to be going
Yeah.
down the line.
Yeah, I
That's it.
just live to play live with these guys and see what's gonna happen, and just close my eyes and let the music swallow me up.
Yeah.
That's it, man. Nothing better. No better feeling in the world.
Right. I just like get inspired when in the middle of a show you can like come to and be like, whoa,
Yeah.
we've been like shredding and I know that something good is happening, and then you kind of like fade back into this like blissful, like everyone is just one, like,
The
you
hive
know, like
mind.
Nirvana, you know, and it's like you can't always do that. And it's like playing with these guys, it's like I've never not had a time where we've just like all been like so linked up and we're just laughing at each other while we're playing, and it's beautiful, you know. It raises my spirits.
Yeah. For me, it's about the music. That's, I don't need to say much more than that.
It's true.
Just making
I don't know.
music.
I'm getting like, maybe I should have went first because I'm thinking about it. I don't know what inspires me. I think right now in this point in my life, all my past failures. I think I'm at a point right now where it's like I've never been as clear-minded
Yeah.
in my life, and I recognize that, and I recognize this.
Part of a group.
Just the way the universe is throwing things at me
Right.
right now, I'm super inspired.
I guess my faith, my family, and these guys. I don't know if I could count anything else, but that's more than enough right there. That does the trick.
That's what's doing it, right?
Anything else we want to get to before we jump into the closing music?
We should have everybody. We should throw out our Instagram and everything because we are releasing a song Saturday, and we want people to know where to go to find it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what do we got?
It'll be on all of our socials at once, most likely on Saturday. So Facebook is JR and the Tribe, facebook.com/JR and the Tribe, and then our Insta is at the Tribe Online.
The Tribe Online.
Yeah, the Tribe Online. And then our YouTube page is just the Tribe. But so we'll end up posting that YouTube link. 3 different handles for 3 different socials. So
We'll get there eventually.
but I'm sure that we'll just upload it right to Facebook and, try and start the hurricane there, hopefully. But it's something that we are.
Don't forget to like all 3.
Yeah, do it up.
Like the trifecta.
Support NEPA Scene.
Yes,
Correct.
absolutely.
That too.
Thank you for having
It's
me.
good to
Thanks so much.
Glad you're back.
Yeah,
Thank
you.
it's good to be back.
Yeah, man.
It was I was really itching after 2 months of not being able to do it to get it together. So, I appreciate Ionic being able to do this and put the work in to make this happen tonight. I know I've definitely been a big pain in the ass the last couple weeks. And thank you to the V-Spot and Stage West for supporting us as well. Everybody wants media coverage. Nobody wants to pay for it. So it's really nice when you meet people who actually care and understand what you're doing for them and want to give back. So, we appreciate them as well because this would not be possible without them. So, all right, let's. I'll get out of your way, and you guys can get back to it.
trying to find that only outlet. I'm not a prophet, just an addict that you love. It's so cold, but I'm not frustrated. The power, I'm just fighting to function.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.